Hello, everyone. I'm Zach, the founder of Mind Body Upgrade, a performance coaching consulting company. And I'd like to introduce my client here, Karen. We've been working
Hi.
together for just under 2 months now. And
Mhm.
yeah, I've very much enjoyed working with you, Karen. Talk about discipline and execution. Karen has been excellent at everything we've been able to do, implementing it. So I want to give you huge props to that. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
Karen, would you like to introduce yourself, share a bit about yourself and what you do for a living and what home is like?
Yeah, thank you. Um, so it's been amazing for me too. I am coming up on my 60th birthday, married, and my husband and I have six adult kids and seven grandkids. And so that keeps us pretty busy. I also have started my own consulting company, which takes up a lot of brain energy and physical energy and creativity. And I've been doing that for 2 years. And I've spent a lot of my career in the healthcare industry. So it's the an interesting dichotomy to be constantly in the space where you're learning about wellness and the value of investing in self-care and health and exercising, eating right and all of that, but you just don't do it yourself. So I was happy to meet you and start on this journey. It is way long overdue. Not my first time paying attention to health and nutrition and things like that, but the more you learn, the smarter you get about just yourself, right? And so it's been fun.
I'm happy to hear that. And how would you say that your personal physical, mental health affects your day to day performance in your work or life?
Yeah, there's no way to overstate how important it is to prioritize taking good care of yourself before you start taking care of everybody else, before you lean into work, before you invest, you give. By nature, I'm a giver, not just in my family, but in work. And if I were to wear a t-shirt to say like what describes me, it's over deliverer. And so every time I'm called upon to do something, whether it's home, at work, in the community, or whatever, I'm leaning into it head first. But before this, I was leaning into it before stopping to check to make sure that there was some self-care and that my engine was full so that I could give. But yeah, it matters. It's really important. It's the foundation of everything that we do is making sure that the body and the mind is in a healthy state so that when somebody leans on you, you're not leaning, right? You're strong enough to be able to do the things that you're called to do.
Right. And kind of reminds me, what do they say when you're in an airplane? You got to put your oxygen mask on first so that you can take care of those around you and really show up. And what's the other thing? Being able to make sure you have a full cup so you can, if needed, be able to pour into others as well.
Yeah, that's an important point because I will tell you that at my generation, I'm just like cusp boomer, right? My generation believes it's selfish to prioritize yourself over family or prioritize yourself over work. It basically character building is that you just give it till you drop.
Right.
And then if you drop and you can't help, then that's a really good excuse to say no the next time. But I think that what I have found, and I am continuing to learn, and definitely through the time that we've spent together, is that there's a whole lot of ways to check to make sure that when somebody asks you to help or when you need help yourself, whether the answer is yes right now. Maybe the answer is give me a minute, right? While I strengthen what I need to be able to give value. So I think it's important. And I see a lot of my peers in my generation just really like doing that work till they drop so that they can get, their hero belt, but then they're not there when they really want to be.
Right. And do you feel like that's where you were at for certain parts of your career or even before this? Like, what was your original motivation with getting
Yeah.
some coaching and consulting in place?
So I spent like the last, I'd say 20 years really for the first time investing in weight management. And it really wasn't wellness. It was nutrition only just based off of, macros and things like that to help me lose weight. And it was all about the scale and all about getting smaller. The things that I would try, like I would try anything just to see the scale go down, even if it made me feel bad. Again, there was that whole if it doesn't hurt, it's not real concept, right? And I did. I lost a lot of weight. I lost 80 pounds between 40 and 50. And then when I turned 50, I hit a plateau. Everything that I had been doing before didn't work anymore. And if it did, it only worked for a little bit and it hurt and it was more painful and made me more discouraged. And so I'd stop. And so this really unhealthy loop for like the last 10 years going back and forth. And so what made me realize that I needed to do something different was just my inability to keep up with my toddler grandkids. Like when they would come and stay with me, I would be completely depleted. And that's not a place where I wanted to be, right? I wanted to be able to be there and play with them and enjoy them. I realized I was about to hit 60 and I was losing energy like a gas tank that was leaking. And I knew it was time to do something.
Yeah, I mean those young ones are just little balls of energy, and it takes a lot to be able to keep up with them. But I appreciate you
Absolutely.
sharing a bit about what you've experienced over the years. And that is something that I do hear a lot at a certain point, whether it's hormones in the body change and what worked before isn't necessarily working now, or just so many different things that we have to pay attention to in life. And maybe it's difficult to try to research or fully understand everything about the proper exercise or recovery or supplementation or ways to go about nutrition. And there's so much
Yeah.
information out there. What was your understanding of different exercise, nutrition, recovery, and performance before we got started?
Yeah, I will tell you that the biggest belief that I had was that I really didn't know, no matter how many calculators were out there, or no apps and all kinds of, like you said, articles. I definitely did a lot of research, if you call it research, just a lot of reading. And there's a lot of information, and I just had no way to figure out what amount of nutrition my body needed in order to be healthy and get through both living every day plus a workout. And so what I always struggled with was, you know, trying to figure out if I needed to feed a workout or starve a rest day or all of those things. And so my body was just as confused as I was and reacted that way. So I'd say the biggest thing was just trying to understand what my body needs in order to actually lose weight, sleep better, be healthier, and gain muscle.
Yeah. What were some things that you were trying previously? Like, did you have a exercise routine in place, or had you tried different kinds of diets?
So yeah, I tried lots of things and I'll talk about those. But when we met, I didn't have an exercise routine in place. But I did have like an Apple Watch, and I constantly tried to, at least see if I could end the day in a calorie deficit by moving, just by being a little bit active. But it wasn't structured, and there was no real accountability with it. Like if I didn't feel like doing it, then I didn't do it. And I also was in a sugar addiction that just seemed like I'd read about it and it's like, it takes 21 days to get rid of it. And I'm like, oh, that seems like forever. But I had tried everything. I tried Wegovy, I tried phentermine, I tried personal weight training at the gym where there was somebody meeting me there and working out. Everything except like customized food because I like to fix my own meals and I like to monitor sodium and sugar intake and things like that. So it doesn't stress me out to cook. I think I've tried just about everything except for just somebody shipping food to me.
Hmm. Yeah, you mentioned something pretty critical there, accountability. Why do you feel some of those things didn't necessarily work for you?
I would say that it was because my personality needs a rhythm, a schedule, and some structure. Which is interesting because if my personality needs that, you would think that I would be able to institute that, but it's not true. Like I go easy on myself, right? But I keep my commitments. And so if I make a commitment with someone to do something, then I'll do it. If I make a commitment to show up, I'll show up for everybody except for myself. I think that's true for a lot of people. I think that if someone else says that we have to be somewhere every day or do something every day, we'll do it for them, but we won't make that same commitment for ourselves. So the accountability was huge. And also being able to pare it back, like what's happening today, how I feel today, what's going on, and is this okay? Or what should I tweak?
Hmm. Yeah, I can certainly attest to your ability to implement and execute on things when there is a structure and someone there to make sure it's being executed on. And I guess that being said, how would you say you've been feeling so far? I know we're just under 2 months in, about the results you've been getting in different areas.
Yeah, I would say it's been an amazing improvement in a couple of areas. The most important thing that has changed with me is that I have a lot more respect for the amount of sleep that my body needs. I maybe for the last 10 years, I have averaged without an alarm clock 5 hours a night, going to bed late and getting up just because my body is just ready to get stuff done. And to me, that goes with that whole personality of just trying to shove a whole lot in a day, get a whole lot done, wanting to be up early in the morning before everybody starts pinging me to get stuff done, and sacrificing the most important thing that I need to live, which is sleep. The second is the epiphany of hydration. Before we met, I never paid attention to what water flushes out of my body. Or and when I work out and what I lose from heat, and working in the garden and all the stuff that I did. And when I would feel cramps or when I would feel malaise or when I would have those sugar cravings, I really didn't look for root causes. I just would keep going and feed it. And immediately, the information that you gave me and the education that got and use now religiously about hydration and electrolyte balance has made a big difference. It's made a difference in the way I sleep and how I work out, and it gets me through, like, the tough phases in the middle of a workout, and allows me to just really feel more fluid. But sleep and hydration are the biggest things. Yeah, those were 2 things that have changed my wellness
Hmm.
and my
Yeah, it's important to take a whole picture of what's going on, how the system is kind of operating, and sleep, hydration, these are pretty critical things in how our body's able to function and how our brain is able to also recover and get the adequate amount of rest and be able to perform throughout the day when we have a lot going on, whether that's work,
yeah.
family life. With that being said, would you say you are getting better sleep at this point? Are you wearing your Aura ring? I know we're tracking
Oh,
different
yeah.
things pretty well throughout this.
Yes, the Oura Ring has been a game changer because the Oura Ring gave me data that I didn't have about the quality of my sleep and about readiness each day. I think normally you get up and you feel like you feel and you gotta do what you gotta do, so you just power through, and you don't realize even if today is a day where you have low readiness, you don't have a strategy because you don't have enough data to figure out that you need to do something today to make tomorrow better. And what you said about the system. So you think about a system, you think about how if you have a really nice car that you love the way it hums, and if you're driving it and it's making a weird noise, you stop and do something. Well, you don't do that with your body, and we should. And I think that all of the information that a car engine feeds you back that tells you your tire is low or you need an oil change, we don't have that. I didn't have that until I got the Oura Ring that let me know that I needed an oil change or that my tire needed air and I needed to sleep longer. And so just being able to have a corrective action plan with data has been extremely valuable for me in changing my behavior and helping me prioritize the readiness of my body for each day. And if I know I have a busy day or it's going to be a really hot day or I'm going to be outside or I got some lifting to do or if I'm going to have an emotional calendar, at work, making sure that I do all the things that put me in a position to have a high readiness for the next day works repeatedly and it builds upon itself, right? Each oil change leads to a smoother running engine. And that has been just amazingly valuable data for me to have. So I'm a big Aura Ring fan.
Yeah, there we go. Unfortunately, people don't really take into account or try to assess these things until it's getting to a certain point, right? Like
Yeah.
they are burning out in work or just at really low energy levels to be able to show up whether that's at home or with the kids or grandkids and things like this. It's good to be able to get ahead of the curve in a sense and start to figure out what is having an impact on what. Tracking things is good, but I don't know about you, but when I started tracking things, if we don't know how to manipulate things once we're tracking, then it can kind of be hard. So, how would you say you've enjoyed being able to understand or get some feedback on the why behind the what and be able to make adjustments so that we could improve on, say, readiness or sleep or iterate along the way?
Oh, that's been really important. And what I call it is milestone pushes, right? Or speed bump pushes. So previously, let's say I didn't have a coaching relationship. One good example I have is the fact, I go to the gym one day and all of a sudden I'm feeling like I can't lift the weights that I lifted 2 days ago. I'm like, oh, did I hurt something? Or am I working too hard? Or do I need to change everything? And just being able to come back and tell you about that and you go, yep, that happened. Let's look at different ways to switch up your rhythm of your schedule, or maybe you need a different rest day, or it needs to happen at night. All of those things. I think the most important thing to being able to have the relationship is to be able to have the back and forth, not just the accountability, but the back and forth conversation about what is happening with me, because everybody's body is different. So, um, having an app that 1,000 people use and do the same thing, it just doesn't work for me, because that's not my body we're talking about. You're just talking about an average, a generalization. And so learning about how my body responds to sleep, how my body responds to hot weather, how my body responds to weightlifting, or how my body, responds to all of the different things that we've tried, like the customized coaching, where you have actually been able to help me figure out, and it's not just what my body responds to, it's what my mind responds to. What do I like doing? Like, you asked me, like, how did you enjoy that workout? Like, you're actually supposed to enjoy a workout is also epiphany. I actually look forward to going to the gym and doing the things and being able to put 5 more pounds on, or be able to move through and then let you know that I'm able to do 10 now, I'm able to do 15. Should I do 15 or should I stay at 10? All of those things. That education has really felt very bespoke and very valuable for me. And I have responded to that because it has helped me in places where I would have maybe just been like at those milestones and maybe just stopped because I didn't understand it and I felt like I was doing something wrong. Just able to push me over the hump because I'm like, okay, take a deep breath. This is the way it's supposed to be. And then you get to the next milestone. So I believe that's also very, very critical. And especially if you're the type of person who just really wants to make sure that you're doing the right things at the right time and not just powering through because, WebMD says so.
Right. Yeah, it helps to know that what you're doing is progressing in the right direction, not necessarily
Mhm.
going down the wrong path and just trying to
Right.
make something keep going if it's not necessarily the right approach.
Yeah.
Well, well, yeah, it's been awesome to hear some of these things, and I know you've been enjoying the progress so far. I guess let's say, someone else was in the same spot as you before we first before you first reached out, unsure if, a kind of coaching or program would help.
Mhm. Yeah.
What would you tell them?
Yeah. The first thing I would tell them is that this is a form of self-care, right? That and what we kind of started talking about in the beginning, that you have to be whole, healthy, and know what's happening with your body and be friends with your body. That's another thing. We're not always friends with our body. We're kind of fighting against it, angry with it, trying to force it into doing what we want it to do without actually listening to it or paying attention to it. And the first thing I would say is pay attention to your sleep and your hydration. And I can tell you that anybody who is in an anxiety filled state, emotionally or physically, is probably not sleeping a lot, or they're sleeping too much and it's not good sleep. And I think once someone starts to pay attention to those biometrics and starts realizing that they can, like, hack goodness out of their life, just like balancing their electrolytes and sleeping, they're gonna wanna do more. They're gonna wanna know more. And then they'll have a baseline for adding all of that stuff on. But I think if you begin with a system that is compromised and there's something that you can do immediately by just going to bed earlier or doing all the things that make you rest easily at night, um, you will be positioned, ready, and willing to do all the other things that you wanna do, like increase your flexibility or build muscle or lose weight or just for exercise routine that makes you feel confident and in more control, right? The self-control thing is a big thing too. It's a dopamine hit to know that you can do some things that you've been wanting to do.
Very well said. And it makes me think when it comes to the aura scores, what does everyone realistically want? They want the best readiness, the best sleep, the best activity so that we can
Yeah.
feel good physically, mentally, emotionally in our lives. And when it comes to things like stressors or anxiety, and with the amount of work that people are doing these days, you're right. It's like, where are our bases not necessarily being met? Are we not sleeping enough? Are we not doing certain things to be able to sleep more? Whether that's
Yeah.
exerting enough energy throughout the day or releasing tension that could be getting
Mhm.
stored through things like stretching before or after a workout, or even in first thing in the morning or right before bed at night.
Yeah, I wanna say something about that too because I didn't speak about the flow 60 and how amazing that's been. The biggest thing that routine has given me is focus on places in my body that hold tension and how much more prepared for the day or better I am to my body when I focus on releasing that, and also how much time I should be stretching. Like, before, I probably did a total stretch of, like, 60 seconds, right? And didn't prepare myself for being able to stretch and stress and use my muscles, and the meditation and the breathing. All of that really has just put me in a more self-contained care state and made me more aware of how I'm feeling throughout the day and given me little opportunities, even while standing in line at the airport, to release some tension, right, in my body that allows me to relax and be more fit and be more at peace. So that was also, all of the things put together really are a package, and the results, like, have been amazing. My husband, my family, everybody is just like, "Wow, you were on Wegovy for, like, 18 months, and in, like, less than 2 months, you've seen, like, twice as and it's not just physical, it's also emotional and peace, well-being, and readiness, willing to say yes to stuff and not be stressed about it.
Amazing. It's
Mhm.
been awesome so far and looking forward to continuing more. I guess if you were to sum up the journey till this point, or even what you're looking forward to going forward, in one word or phrase, what would it be?
I would say being more in control, learning, continuing to learn more about my body and how it responds and what it needs and how to make it stronger and more resilient. Resiliency is a really big thing that I didn't even think about as a goal for my body that is part of that now. And also being able to share it with other people. There's a lot of people in my life who I would like to be able to share this opportunity with so that they can also experience the metamorphosis.
Amazing. Well, appreciate you jumping on today, Karen.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, thanks for those watching, and we'll continue on with this resilience.
Thanks, Zach.
Okay, thanks so much for watching, and big thank you to Karen for not only showing up fully in her journey, but also being willing to share and be so open here today. Now, if you found something valuable in this conversation, maybe you resonated with Karen's story, or you're feeling like now's the time to take your health and performance more seriously, I want to invite you to explore what's possible. I work with high performing professionals who are excellent at what they do, yet still feel like they're leaking energy or battling stress or not showing up at the level they know they're capable of. Now, what we do is simple but powerful. We bring structure to your day, regulate your nervous system, and use data backed methods to improve sleep, energy, and focus, all so you can feel better, think sharper, and perform consistently at a high level. If you're interested in learning more, there's a link below in the description where you can explore how this process works and whether it's a good fit for you. Again, thank you for being here. And Karen, thank you for trusting the process and being such a wonderful example of what's possible.